Welcome to Penguin's Note. Today we have the young and talented cellist, Zlatomir Fung. Hi, Zlatomir, welcome to Taiwan.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I know you have a big performance tomorrow and the day after, right? And tell us what will you play this time?
Sure. So I'm playing the Rococo Variations by Tchaikovsky with the Evergreen Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Jaap van Zweden.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to it. This is it's my fourth or fifth time coming to Taiwan, but it's only my second time performing in this country, so it's very exciting.
Wow, I think it's going to be my first time hearing you perform in Taipei, so I'm really looking forward to hear your Rococo.
Thank you.
And speaking of Rococo, I know you are the youngest musician ever to win the Tchaikovsky first prize ever. This is 2019, right? And tell us what is it like and how did it change your life?
Yeah, well, it was so. The Tchaikovsky competition was kind of a dream of mine since I was around 12 years old, and I had the opportunity to finally participate in it when I was 20 in 2019. It's been a bit of a bumpy road since then because not right after, but about 9 months after the competition, COVID happened. So there was a bit of a hiatus there, but it's definitely, it still remains, you know, sort of, I consider it sort of the launch pad for everything that I'm doing now in my performing career.
Wow. And I understand in 2021 you did your Carnegie Hall debut, right? And you still remember what did you perform on this special concert?
Yes, let me see if I can recollect it. Yeah, so the program that I had at that recital was with a wonderful pianist friend of mine from the UK, Mishka Momin, and we played a program that was all music for cello and piano that was not originally written for cello and piano, but has sort of become music in the repertoire that feels like originally for cello. So the Arpeggione Sonata, the Dvorak Silent Woods, which was originally written
That's a beautiful piece.
for the, I think it was either two pianos or four hands. Yeah, it's an amazing piece. The Schumann Adagio Allegro, and then the Franck Sonata. So all pieces that are not originally for cello, but beautiful things that we play on the cello as part of our own repertoire.
Yeah, and in 2020 you won the A.V. Fisher Career Grant, right? And what is it like?
Oh yeah, that was also a big honor. The career grant came with, you know, a certain amount of money that they give the recipients permission to use it in whatever way they see fit for the benefit of their career. So I've used it for commissioning new works, including this new Carmen fantasy that's featured on my upcoming album, which was written by a friend of mine.
And 2023 to 24, you are artist in residence with Royal Philharmonic. This must be a very glorious year.
Yeah, that was a fun year.
How many concerts did you play? And
I think I played 9 concerts with them over the course of the season. I had sort of 3 different periods with them in the UK. I played 3 concerts in London, and then we had a couple run-out concerts, including a tour. I played the Haydn C Major Concerto in a bunch of different cities in the UK. That was really fun. They're a great orchestra.
And you mentioned the Haydn C Major is a very special piece to you. Why is that?
Oh, the Haydn C? Well, it's you know, it's one of those pieces that I learned when I was, I think, 9 or 10. So it kind of has that feeling of being incredibly familiar, but also still very challenging. And it's sort of, I don't know, it represents that time in my life when I was starting to become really serious about cello. So it always feels fun to come back to it and see if I can do it better than the last time.
I see. And 2024, you become the youngest Juilliard faculty, right? And
I don't know if I'm the youngest, but I might be the youngest right now.
So what is it like to be teaching at your old school?
It's wonderful, actually. It's Actually, we just about a week ago we did the auditions for next year, and that was a very interesting process because we heard about 80 different cellists from all over the world, including a couple from Taiwan who were hoping to attend the school. And
that's right, it's always in March.
yes, it's
I
always in March.
remember
Yeah, yeah.
Early March.
And it's such an interesting process seeing, you know, how you see young cellists when they're 18, and then you see them, you know, a year later or you know, a few months later, and they've already improved so much. And I find it really stimulating with my own students now, and just in general in my approach to teaching, having that opportunity to really think and talk about music with other people. I think that's one of the great pleasures of being a musician is trying to, you know, figure it out and figure out the mysteries of what makes it so amazing for us.
But the funny thing is, do you encourage your student to go for competition?
You know, I tell my students to do whatever they want to do. So if they express interest in doing it, I say, of course, you should go for it. I feel like today with classical music, it's so difficult to make a career in a way that people should do whatever they feel that they can or want to do, you know, to push themselves and try to get themselves out there. Any opportunity is a good opportunity for someone to prepare and practice a lot and improve. So I definitely encourage them to do whatever they want.
And I understand you just released your debut album in January 2025.
Oh yes, actually.
Tell us your new collection. Yeah.
Sure. Actually, the album release was delayed, unfortunately, by a few months. So it's coming out next month.
Okay.
But the album is called Fantasies, and it is music for cello and piano that's all based on opera. And specifically opera fantasies, this tradition of writing like a 10 to 15 minute piece that has a lot of different numbers from an opera.
And while you were growing up, who is your favorite musicians, you know?
My favorite musicians?
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking about this yesterday. One of my biggest inspirations was Misha Maisky, because I feel like maybe I was the first generation to really listen to music only on YouTube. You know, I had CDs, but you know, I didn't listen to them really unless it was something that I couldn't get on YouTube. But YouTube was always my first destination, you know, starting out in like 2006, 2007, when it was just a very new website.
That's
you know?
right.
And I remember the Misha Maisky Bach suites were some of the first things that were posted on YouTube.
I see.
And so that was a big inspiration for me. I have memories of listening to those when I was maybe 7 or 8.
Wow.
And I still love the way he plays Bach. So that's kind of a special personal connection for me. And then of course, as I got a little older into my teenage years, I started to really love Rostropovich. He was a big influence on me. And also Yo-Yo Ma, of course, for all of us cellists, especially those of us in the United States, or who have Asian blood. He's a great inspiration. So.
Yeah, I know all these you just mentioned are also mine. And how do you use the YouTube and Instagram to reach out your audience?
Well, you know, today with social media, there's a whole new way of reaching audiences that didn't exist, you know, 20, 30 years ago. You know, even when it comes to something simple like promoting a concert, you would have to, you know, back in the day, you'd have to sort of either know the concert series or have their brochure or, you know, read about it in the newspaper or something. But now you can send someone a message or you can post something and I can reach, you know, thousands of people in one day telling them about something. Yeah. And I think that's really a gift. It's also a challenge too, because there's so much information out there that it can sometimes be difficult to evaluate, you know, what's I think worthwhile, you know. But I'm optimistic because I think that there are a lot of people working now who are using things on social media with a lot of humor to get people interested in classical music. So, you know, Two Set Violin, which just disbanded actually, they were a big part of that. Making funny videos and like
they're funny.
And there were videos that were funny that you know, you could find funny even if you didn't even know what a violin was, you know, just because of the way they talked about it, and like they were just kind of two nerds, like going like, oh, you know, this is awesome, you know, this kind of thing. And I think that really helped people see that passion for classical music can be just as kind of immature but in a good way, you know, and like childlike as passion for like video games or sports or something like that, you know. So that was really important, and you know, there are people now making a lot of short form content, which is like trying to grab your attention. So I think that's great, and for us the challenge is to find a way to translate that, you know, now that someone knows what a cello is, they know what Bach is or whatever, to get them to come to a concert. And I think it's also part of our responsibility to make concerts experiences that people like, you know, like not too long, not too difficult, like not too formal, you know. I think there's going to be more of that in the future, like different types of events that for different types of audiences.
Oh, it's wonderful. And I know you have two beautiful cellos, right? And tell us, one of them I know is Stradivarius.
Yes, so
these two.
So one of the instruments that I'm now playing on is this wonderful Stradivarius cello from 1696. It's nicknamed the Lord Aylesford, and it is on loan to me from the Nippon Music Foundation in Japan. And I've actually only been playing on it for about, I guess, about 2 months. So I'm still getting used to it. It's a very, very characterful, intense instrument with a big personality.
How long have you had this Stradivarius?
How long have I? Just for 2 months. I've only had it since January. Yeah,
okay.
And I have the loan for several years, so I look forward to getting to know it.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah, and I also have another cello which I love very, very much, made by Domenico Montagnana. And it's a very small cello. It's cut down, but it's incredibly fiery and powerful, like a pistol. And that one is also on loan to me from a generous benefactor, a private family. So,
which one are you playing for tomorrow night?
For this weekend, I'm playing on the Montagnana.
Wow. So. Okay, I can't wait. And what's your new project coming up this new year, 2025?
Well, that's a great question. I have a couple different things in the works. I just made another like video recording, which I hope to release sometime after my album, maybe in the summer, of one of the Bach suites and a contemporary piece by Dobrinka Tabakova called Purin, which is a wonderful piece for solo cello. So I'm hoping to continue. I recorded the first cello suite, so later in the year I'm hoping to record the second and third suites. I'm kind of making my way slowly, and I'll post those on YouTube at some point. And beyond that, I've also gotten back into composing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I heard it on YouTube. Since when do you like to write music?
I was writing music, I think, starting from the age of 11 or 12. I used to be quite a composer when I was like a young teenager.
And you must have a good ears.
No,
so you could.
Sorry, by quite a composer I mean I composed a lot, not that I was good.
You're so modest. Okay.
Yeah, it was fun at that time, to write music because I didn't really know anything, but in a way that was very freeing because I just played. I wrote stuff that I wanted to play, and I was writing a lot of cello music. So I wanted to kind of return to that, and so one of my projects is I'm finishing writing these 7 etudes for solo cello, which I want to share with everyone, and also a string quartet is in the works too. So. Wow,
maybe one day you will record it in an album.
Oh, we'll see, yeah.
And when you're composing the music, what is your inspiration? Where does it come from?
For me, my inspiration for composition always comes from my playing, like my relationship to playing the cello. And I think about how many of my favorite composers were trained as players first, and I think this tradition of being a musician for most of Western classical music history, it meant that you were both a performer and a composer, and there was actually not really so much of a difference. So like a great cellist like Adrien-François Servet, who was a very prominent performer in his life, and Piatti, Popper, all these people who we now know for their compositions were also very prominent performers. Paganini, of course, and Beethoven and Bach, they were players as well, keyboard
Mozart,
players.
right?
Mozart, of course, yeah. And I think it's a pity that this tradition has died out a little bit in the past 100 years, this idea that you ought to also be a composer. And it's okay if you don't write things that are very good, but it's just that you are a musician, and writing your own music is part of what it means to be a musician. So I find that that to be my main inspiration. Like, I don't care whether it's good. I want to write stuff that I want to play, and I'm a cellist, and I feel like I can use my my skills as a cellist. Sort of, I imagine when I'm writing music that I have like two parts of myself. I have me, the composer, and then me, the cellist, that can tell the composer what's possible and what's not possible. And so there's that kind of internal dialogue that makes it really a stimulating experience to compose.
Next time you write something new, keep me posted.
Yeah, sure, I'll send you it.
Maybe you write for 2 cellos, 4 cellos, 8, 10 cellos.
Yeah, 2 cellos actually. I have a couple of pieces for 2 cellos. I love writing for 2 cellos.
Wow, I can't wait to hear them.
Thank you.
Great. In 2023, you did a world premiere, played the Boucher's cello concerto, right? Could you tell us about this piece?
The Whisper Concerto
Whispers,
by Catherine Balch. Yeah, that was a wonderful piece. I premiered it with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. And it's a very cool piece because she asks for a special kind of colegno that uses a chopstick. You have to hit the strings with the chopstick for the entire cadenza, and it's a really cool sound.
Wow, but just the left hand.
Yeah, you use the left hand. Left hand is the normal like pitch, but you get this percussive quality, like a very intense colegno.
It's very special.
And it's a very fun piece. I hope I get the chance to play it more. Actually, I think it just last week or something won a big award in the United Kingdom for a new contemporary work of classical music. So I hope it gets more recognition. It's a marvelous piece of music.
Okay, and what is your best advices for the young musician out there? I'll try to be like you.
Oh, well, I think for me the most important thing is to always be curious about a lot of different things, but especially curious about the music, and thinking about what the composer is trying to say, and where they were coming from when they decided to write this piece of music that you're playing. And yeah, but also to be curious about other things like history and literature and all these things, that they all kind of connect. And then from a practical perspective, I think it's really important to, I guess something that I tell my students a lot is that they should really enjoy the mistakes they make, because every mistake is an opportunity to learn. And I find that if I make a mistake, a very bad mistake in a performance, it actually teaches me so much, because it teaches me, okay, I haven't been practicing that correctly, or I need to change my fingering, or I need to change my bowing, or I need to think about it differently, focus on something else, and for the next performance, I will then go back and really look at that passage in a different way. And that mistake allowed me to make that decision. If that mistake wasn't there, then I wouldn't have thought about that passage in a deeper way. So I always find it very meaningful, to have. Sometimes it can be painful in the moment, but in the long run, it makes you grow so much.
I agree. That reminds me, my cello professor Aldo Peroso said, it's okay to make a mistake, and then the following music, you're going to play better than the mistake. Well, thank you so much for your precious time, and I hope to see you in the near future in Taiwan.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to speak with you.
For sharing your thoughts. Thank you.